Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my property channel. Now on this channel, we're taking you on a journey where we're going to be growing my property portfolio, but more importantly and more interesting for you, I'm actually going to build a portfolio for my two girls, Georgia, who's 21, and Amelie, who's 1. We've just bought our first investment property in Doncaster for Georgia. So do check out all the videos on this channel to see how that's going. Now, to join us on this journey and see all the highs and lows, do make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification, because I don't want you to miss out on all this excellent content that we've already made and all the stuff that's coming in the future. Now, in this video, I want to talk about 15 different ways that you can invest in property and make money. Well, we're going to talk primarily about residential, but we're also going to talk about some commercial stuff as well. So do make sure you watch this video all the way until the end, because I've got some great stuff that I want to share with you guys. So stick around. Now, first and foremost is just single, standard, boring, vanilla buy-to-lets. Now, they're a great strategy because buying in the right area is really what made me successful in property. Now, there are strategies that make more money, but if you just did a normal buy-to-let, as in you bought a property, didn't need any work, but it could get rented out straight away, you're going to start making money. And that's the great thing. Now, you're going to make money in two ways really here. First off is with rent. So what happens on a buy-to-let is you have to put 25% in as a deposit, and they're going to look at the figures and they're going to make sure that your mortgage payments are significantly less than the rent that you achieve. So you're going to make some profit in that straight away that you can save up and invest in the future. And you're going to make money with capital appreciation as well, which is great. Meaning over time, the value of the house is going to go up. That's what happened to me. My first property I bought for £45,000. It's now worth £250,000 just over 20 years later. So it's gone up 5 times in value. That's allowed me to release equity and then buy more properties from that. So first strategy is your standard buy-to-lets. Now the next strategy is what I'm doing at the moment. A lot more of this now. And that's called BRRR. And that stands for buy, refurbish, refinance, rent and repeat. I don't know if I've got enough R's in there, but that's the strategy. So it's buy, refurbish, refinance, rent, repeat. Now, what does that even mean? Well, what it means is that you buy a property that needs some work, some love and attention. We've just done that in Doncaster, and that's what I'm going to suggest is that you check out the videos on the channel after you've watched this one to see what we're talking about there. So we bought in Doncaster for £60,000, a property that properties on that street that are in good condition are selling for 100, right? And so we're refurbishing the property, and so that's happening at the moment. We're putting new kitchen, new bathroom, kitchens are getting done, windows are getting painted, all of that beautiful stuff is happening. And then we're going to refinance that property. And so we're going to get a new buy-to-let mortgage on that, and all being well, it might not work out quite like this, but we'll get as close to it as we can. We'll get the property valued at 100 and we'll have done the work for less than 75, as in the purchase and all the work for less than 75. That means that they'll give us a £75,000 loan, a mortgage on it, and we'll get all of our money back. So then we'll rent it out for £500. We'll have a mortgage of around about £150 a month, which is fine. And then we will crack on and repeat this and do it again and again and again. Now, this is a great strategy for those that have a pot of money, that are comfortable with doing some building work, and they want to grow a portfolio fast. Because if you buy a normal buy-to-let, you've got to wait for time for the value to go up. Whereas this strategy, you can make that value go up even faster. Now, other ways that you can increase the value in those, which I've just done with 2 properties, I turned a studio flat into a 1-bedroom flat. I turned a 1-bedroom flat into a 2-bedroom flat, and that's where you're increasing the value, and that allows you to release equity. Now, a similar strategy is called flips. And so that's where you take somewhere that needs some love, same as this strategy, and then you do some work on it, and then you will sell it on. Now, I'm not a massive fan of that, because what happens is you'll get some money out and you can get large chunks of money out here, but then you're not getting the capital appreciation. And that's where you get really rich in property, where you hold the properties for a number of years, and over that time, they increase in value. So I'm not against flips, and I see why people do them to get fast cash in that they can use, but I also prefer to play the long game in property. But that's another strategy, is to flip them. Now, another thing that you can do is convert houses into flats, right? So you could get permission to do that from the council and then turn like a 2-story house into 2 1-bedroom flats, or if it's bigger than that, you could do 2 2-bedroom flats. I don't know, depends on the layout of the building and stuff like that. But that's a good way to increase the value, is to turn a house into flats. So that can be a good one. Next is a strategy that's very good for cash flow, as in it's going to pay you like a lot more than a normal rental property would. And that's to turn your properties into an HMO. That stands for House of Multiple Occupancy. So what we mean by that is you might take a 3-bedroom house that also has a living room and a dining room and convert that into 5 bedrooms. Ideally, you want to get en suites in there, but they can also share. And that means that you can rent it out on a room by room basis. And so in the local area where I live, I'm in Dorking, but in Crawley, a lot of people do this. They rent somewhere that's maybe £1,000, and then they can rent the rooms out for £500 each. So if they took a 3-bed, turned it into 5-bed, they could get £2,500 instead of £1,000 in rent, which would be really, really good, obviously. Now, you do need to obviously pay the bills on top of that. So you would be paying for the broadband, the heating, the council tax, and all of that stuff as well. So that's really, really important to take that into your costs. But that's a good cash flow strategy, and that would allow you to make significantly more money. Now, another good thing that you can do is get property or land and get planning permission. Now, with planning permission, the money is made in the deal when you get the permission, right? So people sell pieces of land for 20 grand in various areas of the country. If you could get planning on that, suddenly that land could be worth 50, 100 grand, depending on what planning you get, right? If you get it for just one house, not going to go up so much, but if you got it for a block of flats, it could significantly increase that land. And so you could be studying and learning where are good places to get planning permission, buy some land, look to get that permission, and then once you've got that permission, then you can go and sell that, or you can keep it and do the deal with somebody. That could be a good one. Now, other things that are doing quite well, like this office where I'm here right now is on Dorking High Street, right? And so what's happening a lot around here is some people are taking residential properties and turning them into commercial buildings. And so they might change something and turn it into a doctor's surgery, or they might turn it into somewhere where they do massages or whatever, right? There's various different things. So residential to commercial is a really, really, really good strategy. Now, I've got tons more to share with you here, but as you've got this far in the video, please make sure you smash that like button over there, guys. Come on, smash it till it turns blue. That helps me greatly with YouTube and the algorithm to get more views. Comment below as well any questions. Say what strategies so far have you seen that you're interested in, or what questions have you got, guys? Or even if it's just to say hi, but do give me a little comment while you're here as well. So next is a commercial strategy I want to talk about here, and that's where you can turn a single unit into you could just rent, a single unit, right? And so you could buy, scrap that. You could buy a single unit and you could rent that out. For example, you could buy a shop, you could buy a warehouse, you could buy a small office and rent that out. So that's similar to buy to let, right? And obviously you need to buy it in the right area because commercial's changed. And some high streets are struggling, so make sure that you buy something that you're very confident that will rent out. Warehouses are particularly good at the moment, so that could be something that you look at. Now, in the commercial front as well, you could look at doing an HMO, but an office. So what that means is that you rent a big office, and then you break it down and rent it out on a room by room basis. Regis do this. Think of Regis, right? Or WeWork are one of the bigger ones that do this as well. They rent out offices. They convert it slightly inside to make it so it can be used by multiple people, and then they rent out on a room by room basis. That gives them real leverage to be able to increase the rent significantly. And Regis obviously is a huge international company, so clearly that strategy is a very, very good strategy. Even small companies are doing that in Dorking. Individuals I've seen that are renting out a bigger office and then breaking it down into small offices and renting it out on a room by room basis. So it isn't only the big guys that do this, guys. And right now you can get some very good deals on big offices because big companies are working from home. And so there's a lot of empty offices at the moment. But small companies, they want somewhere to go. They need somewhere to go and have their meetings, to record their podcasts and all of this stuff that we're doing right here, right? So that does work. And HMO offices are a good one. Now, another strategy that I'm seeing a lot in Dorking Town Centre is commercial to residential, right? And so that is, that's happened over the road and next to me, literally there, building, they've taken a shop, they've knocked the shop down like to the foundations. It was a 3-story building, knocked it down. They're putting 20 flats in there, 20 flats in there. Opposite, they've done something a little easier where they've converted an office and they've converted that office into 6 flats. That's happening quite a lot on stuff that's slightly higher up in the high street. I mean, as in not on street level, it's stuff that's above the shops, right? We had a big Woolworths for many years, probably remember that as a kid, right? And that converted into something called the Original Factory Shop, I think it's called. It was like storage above for years and years and years. That's now being converted in Dorking into 20 flats, right? So they've taken a commercial space and turned it into residential. So that's a good one there. Now, another commercial one that can be very profitable is to buy care homes. Care homes are very, very profitable businesses. They're important. People need good quality accommodation. The fees on care homes are crazy high. Many charge more than £1,000 a week. And so they can be very, very successful for people. So I would look at care homes as well. Now, next one on commercial is student accommodation. And so you are now getting big student accommodations in, where is it? It's in central London. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I drive past it all the time. There is this huge office that is now being converted into student accommodation. And they have put a swimming pool in there. They've got multiple snooker tables and pool tables. They've got a bar. They've got a restaurant in there. I mean, it's really, really structured really well. There's hundreds of rooms in there. And that could be something that you could do, is to convert commercial stuff, offices and stuff like that, into big blocks of student accommodation. By having the scale, it allows you to offer more facilities. And if I was going to university, that could be quite attractive to me. You've got an option to rent out an old, moldy old house that's not been looked after very well, or you've got somewhere that's brand new, it's clean, it's pristine, and it's got a swimming pool and a gym and all that kind of stuff. That is very, very attractive. Also, it has a sense of community there as well. So that's another good strategy. Now, if you don't have big money at the moment, and that's fine, like most people start out in property with hardly any money, one really good strategy is to get some cash in the bank, is called deal sourcing. And so you could be getting really good at finding deals out there. Now, this is a skill that's going to benefit you as an investor as well, because if you learn how to find the good deals, then of course that's going to help you buy good deals when you're ready to buy. Now, often if you find a good deal, there are going to be tons of property investors that they haven't got the time to look, or they just aren't very good at it. And then you can sell your deals onto them. And that's a very, very powerful thing to do, right? Sell your deals onto somebody else, and you can make £2,000, £3,000, or for a bigger deals, £5,000 for a deal, which is really, really, really incredible. So do make sure that you look at learning how to deal source as well. Now, one more strategy that's very, very good is new builds, right? And so when you get to the level, this is probably a strategy that you'd start out with, but once you've got a few deals under your belt, maybe you've done a few BRRs or triple Rs, the BRRR strategy, and you've done some like new bathrooms and kitchens, and you've got that stuff under your belt, then you could look at new builds, right? So that means that you could potentially build a block of flats, or you could build one house or 2 houses or 10 houses, whatever. Now, you might not necessarily have the funds to do that, so you can do that with joint venture partners that maybe they've got the experience and you put some of the money in and you're going to project manage it. There's various different reasons why people would JV with you, or maybe you just build a portfolio that's worth more than a couple of million quid, release a big chunk of equity, and then you've got those funds to go ahead and start doing those bigger deals, those new build deals. And so those could be something that you would consider as well. That's another way to make some good money in this market. And the last one is something that's really, really working very well. And this is a high cash flow strategy. Now, you can do this in 2 ways. One, you can buy a property. Now, this works very well with flats or apartments, right? And what I'm talking about is serviced accommodation. And that's where you buy a property and then you rent it out on things like Airbnb, right? And so if you can make sure that your property is full more than 50% of the time, you should start making really, really good money. Now, you're gonna need to renovate the property up to a nicer standard, and you're gonna need to buy things like nice cutlery, nice pillows and cushions, and good quality bedding. But I have property where I would normally make around £1,500 a month, but I'm able to make £3,000 a month because it's running on a serviced accommodation model. It's on Airbnb, it's on booking.com. You get teams of people that run that for you. Now, if you don't have big money at the moment, which is fine, which a lot of people don't, you can rent a property. That's what I do, right? So I rented a new build property. It's in Tower Bridge area. And then we rent it out as serviced accommodation. Now, the landlord and the owner of the property are fully aware of what we're doing for full transparency. We haven't just decided to rent it out without permission. We've got it all agreed in contract, and that serviced accommodation model makes really, really, really good cash flow. And so that's another great strategy to go and earn some decent money. So look, that was 15 different ways that you can make money in property. And I want you to really start committing to building your property portfolio. And how you could join us and have a conversation with us and ask us questions is we've built a Facebook community. It's a free community, nothing for sale there. And in the description of this video is going to be a link where you can join our community and ask us questions. Now, remember, we're on a journey of building a property portfolio. We're going to show you the highs and lows, all the warts and all. So do subscribe and hit the bell if you didn't already. Like the video. Any questions that you've got, do join us in the Facebook group or comment below. And comment below just to say hi, or if you got some value from it, or what did you learn from this video. I'm James Nicholson. Do check out all the other videos on my channel. A video is going to come up here of my recent auction purchase, so go and check that out. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.